Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
And welcome back to the Disciples of the Force podcast. Hopefully that picked me up in the beginning. It looked like it came in a little delayed. So
it looked like it was on time on my side, so we should be good.
We missed last week. That was my fault. I did not watch the episodes that we talked about, so we're here this week with an earlier one to give it to you straight live.
Yes, sir. Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication last time, so it's not just Spencer's fault.
It's always my fault.
It's not.
It is.
But yeah, we're here, we're back, and we're better than ever, ready to talk about the second bout of episodes from Tales of the Jedi, but also the third episode. So 2 weeks ago, we did episodes 1 and 2 of Morgan Elsbeth arc. We're gonna finish her out, and then talk about a Barriss Offee.
Barriss.
So, no news really. Except we got our first look at Skeleton Crew. Did you look at that?
I did. I see you said, bro, no. And I wanted to guess why you said, bro, no, may I?
Yeah.
Is it because they're young and it looks like Stranger Things?
Yes. Like, bro, they look so dumb. I have a history of not liking kid actors and stuff like that. And I've never been into Stranger Things. I will say that loud and proud.
And he never will. He's not someone who backs down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
But then I look in the comments and they're like, yeah, this looks like Stranger Things. This could be cool. These are good vibes. And I'm like, what? You look at the Acolyte and you're like, oh, that's shit. And then you look at this and you're like, oh, yeah. What world am I living in?
I get what you're saying, though. I as well, I've never liked kid actors. Like the one that bugs me the most is the Sixth Sense kid. I don't know. He did an amazing job.
Yeah.
But I just can't get behind a kid actor.
Sure.
So I do get what you're saying. But I also do get where Disney's coming from. They're like, well, Stranger Things went crazy. Let's attempt it.
Yeah.
And I get it from like a making money standpoint. And it's an interesting concept. But I do wish they were older for sure.
Yeah.
I 100% am with you on that. So
I just, I don't know how similar it can be to Stranger Things, though, if that's their thought process. Because we won't get into it, but I don't even know what Stranger Things is about.
So it's called The Upside Down.
Okay. But they did that in Star Wars. They did that in The Bad Batch. Didn't you say that? That's the Upside Down?
No, that's where she's, that's where they take the specimen. Basic, real quick rundown.
Okay, sure.
Stranger Things, the girl 11, she is like a special superpower girl because they use tests and like tested on her, and there's other kids that were tested.
That's
on
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yes,
I know that from Kendrick.
Drake's not a good joke.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, and then what I was referring to in The Bad Batch was that they were in that little enclosure and they all had white on. That's exactly what it looked like.
Okay.
But yes, to your point, there's not much you can like. The only thing that they could be similar is that they're young kids. That's really it, because they can't be like they're in the 80s, because that doesn't exist in Star Wars, because that hasn't happened yet, because it's a freaking long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Dude, that is so facts. I know. Okay, well, that sounds great. That sounds really cool. I hope Star Wars really goes in the direction. Hope they lean into that.
Into the 80s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only news we have. Anything else? They did reveal a cool Kenobi Mandalorian armor hot toys.
Oh, yes.
Which was cool. I don't know if that's newsworthy, but we got to get that for this dude.
I was going to say, that's just one of those things that I just wish I had money, dude.
I know.
Just to buy that. Also, some Lego sets are coming out pretty soon, this next week in June.
Oh, yeah.
They've already been announced, but the one I'm copping, I already told Austin, is the Rex minifig with the Y-Wing. I got at my house, I got all the Lego Star Wars helmets, and I have with Boba Fett, I have his minifigure, and then with who's the other one I have right now? Oh, Din Djarin, I have his minifigure, and so now I'm going to be able to have Rex and his minifigure.
Yeah.
With all their ships, so I'm excited for that.
That'll be sick. Does the Darth Maul ship come out in June too? Because I'm getting that one for sure.
I need to buy that one.
I told Grace I was going to get that, and she's like, how about you build your other one first?
But that one is going to be good.
I was like, Grace, you don't understand Legonomics, bro.
Legonomics. I wonder when that one is coming out. Let me look real quick. Set date.
I will build that one. That one's money.
It doesn't tell me off the top of the head.
Freaking heck.
It's out of stock already though, so maybe it already came out.
Oh, dang. Well, that sucks.
Temporary out of stock. So yeah, I think it did drop already. That's crazy.
Makes me a grumpy boy.
And the grumpy boy Austin makes a grumpy boy Spencer.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, listeners.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry
We vowed to stop doing the cringe Reddit voice, and we just can't stop. That's who we
it's
are.
addicting, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Into Tales of Empire.
Let's get
of
her.
the Empire. Okay, so what was the last episode of Morgan Elsbeth's arc called? It was like Path to Hate, because they were all
Yes, all the Yoda spiel. Yeah, tape.
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have many notes on this, so if you want to rip them off,
I would love to. So my first thing I have here is I don't know if it's the opening shot. No, it's not. It's just in that sequence. So just a quick reminder. The ship comes and it's a former resident of what's the name of their planet? Corvus. And she's like a diplomat of the New Republic, and she's walking up to say, "Hey, you guys can't be doing this." Anyway, there's a shot though when they start fighting, where the shot of Nidora, how do you pronounce her name? One of those two. That's the diplomat.
yeah,
And Morgan Elsbeth are fighting. It was the same exact shot from Ahsoka with Morgan Elsbeth on the same planet.
Yes.
Which I thought was super cool because clearly that had to be done on purpose, and I thought that was a cool little Easter egg.
that was very cool, very Kurosawa inspired, and great shot. Cool alien that diplomat is.
Yes,
she looks cool. Got a freaky hand, which is not important.
No, dude, it sounds like you're really into hands right now.
I'm into hand stuff, so it's like, what's that look like logistically?
You're a freak, dude.
I think it's cool that Morgan Elsbeth is responsible for destroying her own home, because we were speculating as to like how that happens. I thought it was going to be a raid from the Empire, but it really happens right before Ahsoka gets there.
Yeah, like
Presumably,
from what it seems. Within. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, and after the fall of the Empire. So
yeah. I do love this though. Morgan Elsbeth says, "My world has been burning since I was a child. Why should this one be any different?" Which is like cool seeing her. We already saw her freaking back, not her flashback, but her life before, and they literally are burning it, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, when they talk about also in that first episode that her path is of destruction, and so she's just living true to that, and she's burning everything because that's all she knows, because everything she had was taken from her, which just played to her character of like, I guess you do have a lot of hate when your whole family and civilization gets murked. So
yeah, I get that. My world's on fire. How about yours? That's the way I like it. I liked the beacon to what I thought was Ahsoka when the New Republic gal is getting beat off. Sorry, I got a text. She's getting messed up.
Okay.
And then the beacon's actually to Bo-Katan.
Yes, super fun.
And yeah, that's how Bo-Katan knows to tell Din Djarin where Ahsoka is in The Mandalorian.
Oh, I didn't even put that two together. I just thought it was a cool Easter egg, but clearly that does play into that.
Yeah, I think what must have happened, and I can't remember exactly the context with which we are to understand Ahsoka's there from The Mandalorian, but from what I could tell, Bo-Katan gets that beacon, either goes with Ahsoka or tells Ahsoka, dispatches Ahsoka to Corvus.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Great overall seeing of the universe there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Big picture.
That's exactly the word I was looking for, man. I am just, hey, guys, I had a cold and I'm just getting over it, so bear with me.
He had COVID.
I had COVID.
Did you test?
No, I probably should have.
I don't know. My buddy Kaysen had COVID all last week. He was, you know how he is.
Right.
Hung out with him last night. He was wearing a mask.
Hey.
Snowflake.
Snowflake. I do, I got to be honest with you. I never even think about COVID anymore.
Nobody does.
I didn't even think to get a test.
Yeah, I mean, the scandemic is over. Scamdemic.
Wake up, sheeple.
Yeah.
All right.
Just kidding. Get your vaccines. Vaccinate your children. There's a resurgence of polio in the U.S. Can you believe that?
I did not know that. Is it
because these should be eradicated. Vaccines are good. Get vaccines.
And that's because people don't vaccinate.
Yeah.
That's great. My buddy Austin, he's a health care professional, so you should listen.
Yeah, this last semester I took an epidemiology and biostatistics class.
Sounds like a smart class.
Well, it kind of is, but you don't have to be smart to take it.
Okay.
But anyway, we did a lot of study into the effectiveness of vaccines and like how horrible it is that most of the world just rejects a lot of vaccinations and how many diseases we could have destroyed with our vaccines. But anyway, it's whatever.
Yeah, at least no, anyway. I'm not gonna get political.
Like
That's
if a
crazy.
cure, I just want to stay on this point for a second. If tomorrow they found a cure for cancer, all types of cancer could be cured and eradicated from the world, it would not be because people do not like accepting modern medicine and do not want to take.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a crazy thing to. Wow.
It's just crazy to think about.
Okay, now what if that vaccine had to be administered through your pee-pee with a giant needle? Would you do it?
I'd do it, dude. I might have cancer. Did I tell you the results of my colonoscopy?
No, you told me that. Oh, I was going to say you told me they found a cancer or pre-cancerous.
No, yeah, it's precancerous.
Okay.
It's I'm all good.
Keep it pre.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, back, the last two things I have here. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, I'm done.
It's cool. The ship blowing up reminded me of Attack of the Clones when Padme. Spoilers, not actually Padme. It's a freaking handmaiden.
What?
Yeah. That ship gets blown up right at the beginning. That reminded me a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that was taken. I mean, maybe I don't. I gotta look back side by side. I'll clip it. I'll let you know.
Great eye.
And then I just love seeing how dark it ends, and which it stays true to Tales of the Empire. So I like how it ends on a dark note. So 10 out of 10 on that one. I mean, not 10 out of 10. That's not true.
Sure, man. Whatever.
It was an enjoyable little arc for her, but didn't love it.
Yeah, I know I was kind of complaining when we were first watching this is like, do we need this background on Morgan Elsbeth? But I think it was good. I want to revisit it because I really wasn't giving it enough credit.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, I believe. I don't think I was wrong in doing that because then you switch to the Barriss Offee arc and it's
amazing.
Miles ahead of the Morgan Elsbeth story. So
yeah, which is smart of them to put at the end as well. All the ratings that I've seen, those 3 episodes are the highest of the series. Yeah. I do want to ask this. Do you think that the reason they're giving us some more of Morgan Elsbeth is because she's going to play, like, we're going to have to look back on some of this with the new upcoming movie?
I've thought about both of those things. Yeah, because she'll be in Ahsoka season 2 and or a movie. Not the Andor movie.
The Mando.
Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking about that, but then I was like, why would they be giving us Barriss? Because you have to think about the reasoning behind this. Like, why'd they give us Dooku? That's just for more content. I don't think they're going to produce more out of that. But Morgan Elsbeth, certainly, because she's still an active character. We didn't see the end of her story.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
I think it'll be interesting. But whereas we did see Barriss's end, which we'll get into. So,
well, let's hop into it then.
Okay, let's do it. So first episode, Devoted, is what it's called. My first note, very cool to see the Fortress Inquisitorius under construction, which you don't know anything about, do ya?
Not yet, but I'm about to buy it.
You are?
Mm-hmm. We keep doing side notes. I've been doing these surveys on. It's called so cringe. It's called Swag Bucks. Dumb. It's a terrible name for a site. Change that. But you do surveys, you get points, you get Amazon gift. You can get an Amazon gift card. I got me $50 on there.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm like, well, now Ellie can't be mad at me because it's free money.
Sure.
So I'm gonna be buying it here. I already have the money. I just gotta wait for it to give me the code through email.
Nice. After how many surveys did you have to do to get $50?
I had to do quite a lot.
Swag Bucks is a sponsor of the channel, by the way.
Swag Bucks.
They should sponsor us, though.
They should, real. If you know Swag Bucks, let me know. It's different. It's kind of hard because some of them are worth like 500 points.
Okay.
And that's $5.
Okay.
Yeah, every 100 is $1, basically. Right. And some are only worth 20 to 40. And there's some of them are super long. I would say it probably took me 20 surveys. But some of them were kind of fun.
Okay.
Some of them I was like, this is kind of a fun survey I'm taking.
Okay, cool.
And then others I'm like, Anyway, beside that, getting in the game, I'll know more about the Fortress. What'd you say?
Inquisitorius.
Inquisitorius.
It's also included in, or it's also featured in Kenobi. We saw it there. So.
It is, yeah. But it's completed by that time, correct?
Yes, it is, yeah. It's also completed during the time of Cal Kestis and Fallen Order, but it's great. Cool aliens, the two that are with Barriss Offee, the former Jedi or Force-sensitive people. They're very cool looking. Two people I don't think, or two alien species I don't think we've ever seen in Star Wars, to my knowledge.
But do we know who? Because Lynn was one of them. I felt like I was supposed to know who that was. I've never seen those two former Jedi in my life.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think we were supposed to know those two, or two comrades.
Yeah,
no,
two buddies. Okay, because I was gonna watch Screen Crush's video because I wonder if it's like a deep cut. But yeah,
could be, but I just don't think we've seen them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing I have here, I did love seeing the shot in the very beginning of the Jedi Temple being attacked.
Yeah.
And she looks out. She's like, "What's going on?" I thought that was super fun.
That was very cool because she's seeing it through such a narrow field. I feel like there's some deeper meaning there, just because of how intentional it seemed. But yeah, I like that shot too.
I thought it was super cool. I do like that it's like Space Alcatraz, though.
Yeah.
I've never really thought of it that way.
Have you ever been to Alcatraz?
No, I've only played on it. Warzone.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was going to watch an Alcatraz movie today, but I couldn't find it. The Rock, 1996. Had to do it for some study. Anyway. Yes.
I just realized Lynn is the main Inquisitor person.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I meant Dante and Amar. Those are the two.
Because we have seen Lynn before.
Okay, sorry. Apology, listeners. I read my notes wrong.
That's okay. That is okay. I did like the Grand Inquisitor re-quoting Palpatine. At one point he says, the Republic has been reorganized into the First Galactic Empire. I just thought that was so interesting. Because when you work under people, this is going to sound super cringe. Just bear with me for a second.
I'm Baron.
When I was on my mission, here we go.
I'm out. Just kidding.
I had a position called assistant to the president. Now, if our listeners know,
Pretty big deal.
it's a pretty big deal.
It's the highest prestige you can get.
It's as high as you can get. No big deal. But what pissed me off, and I saw this throughout my whole mission, but seeing it from the outside or from the inside out was really annoying. But when you are working under people, you try to parrot and copy them to gain favor. It's like a weird human nature thing, I think. But I noticed I would do certain mannerisms in my trainings, and then I would go sit in on trainings that zone leaders and things were giving, and they would copy me. And it was super cringe. Anyway, that's just to tell a story about myself. But that's what I thought of the Grand Inquisitor re-quoting Palpatine, because I'm like, he's not thinking through it. He's just trying to be like a dog for the Emperor, which
that's a really good point. Yeah, that it also kind of fits into the maybe he's not thinking for himself.
Exactly.
This is what they want, and I'm going to do what. Yeah, that's a really good point. I
That's
think that's a good analogy.
Didn't you see that on your mission though? Like,
yeah, people would definitely copy
the way that your president talked or pronounced certain words. People would copy.
Oh yeah, especially because my president was a white boy. And so, like, other missionaries would, like, try to do, like, his accent.
Yeah.
Who were white. Just because he said a word like the double L.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's human nature, man.
It's crazy. Happens. Blows my mind. Let's see what else I have here. I like how she's, like, it was very cool to see Barriss be like, what is the like, what is that? What is the Empire? Because, like, it puts us right into that perspective of like, we know the whole universe, but she's got no idea. Like, everything she's known is just changed forever. So I thought that was super cool. Just a small little thing in there.
That's one of my biggest fears of ever going to prison. I know I probably won't, hopefully, unless it's for tax fraud or something. That's how I don't know how to do my taxes.
That's how they get the watch.
I genuinely do. I had a freak out the other night. I was like, man, I might be going to prison for tax fraud.
Brother, I think about that every time I file my taxes.
It's scary.
When they audit me, I'm like, it's... But the thing is, they make you pay before they put you in prison, unless you did like.
Oh, really? Okay, we're good then. We're good.
Typically, I mean, if it was like a mistake, then like you just have to pay that. But if you like knowingly went through and like lied, then I think you'd probably go to prison.
I don't want to say it on air. There's something I've been doing unintentionally where this round of taxes, I was like, I might be screwed. Anyway. Okay, sorry. Oh yes, sorry. Going to prison and then coming out and the whole world's changed. Like, you read stories about people that have been in for like 40 years and they come out and they have cell phones and they're like, I don't know what this is.
That'd be
F
crazy.
that, dude.
Yeah. That's what she was living, dude.
Yeah, that's what she was going through.
I do want to say this. When they first walked into that room, when it was just her and the Inquisitor, or Grand Inquisitor, sorry, and then we see all the lightsabers, I literally thought we were going to see live action making a Kyber Crystal bleed.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
It would have been awesome. It wouldn't fit the story, of course, because she doesn't really have any idea of the Sith, and she hasn't been, she's being trained. But I thought that's what we were going to see, and I was super pumped. But then I was like, oh, it's not going to go that way.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Another cool thing from that scene, first off, the cool dark troopers that are there right before that.
Yeah.
I just saw those, and I was like, man, I want an action figure of that. I had a similar action figure when I was little. But anyway.
Sweet.
Her conversation with the Grand Inquisitor during that, after she takes the lightsaber, and she's like, you're not armed. And he's like, I don't need to be. Double meaning there. And I thought it was very cool. First, he is so skilled. Oh, peace sign.
Oh,
he's so skilled that she's not a threat, even when he's unarmed, is what he's saying. That's the first thing.
That's how I took it.
Second thing is he's like, forget your Jedi ideology. People do not need to be armed for you to use force against them. And I wrote that down then. And then in the very next episode, we see her and her Inquisitor friend. Not so much her, but we see Lynn. I can't remember her Inquisitor name. But we see her use deadly force with a lightsaber on unarmed civilians. So it comes around, which I thought was really cool.
That's a really good observation.
Thank you, son.
I didn't think of that. I took it face value. You got the deeper meaning.
I'm digging.
You're digging.
I'm digging down there.
I like that a lot.
Thank you, mate.
That was really good. I do like, and one of the fight scenes, how Barriss is bleeding. I thought that was sweet. That was a nice little touch.
Yes.
And then I like how the Grand Inquisitor says, perhaps you're not as powerful as we thought. And then, of course, that invokes her to get a little angry.
Yeah.
Which is what he's trying to do, which all Sith trying to do, trying to get in your skin. Maul does it the best, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, she's very powerful. I mean, Forrest sent me a thing today of her fight against Anakin in the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
She holds her own for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot how skilled of a fighter she is, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
And then she obviously gets destroyed by Anakin in the end.
But you can't beat Daddy in.
Yeah. I do want to come back to that point.
Okay.
In just a couple lines here.
I'll allow it.
Okay, the final two candidates thing and the fight to the death. I thought that was awesome. I got to stop doing my twos because there's balloons going everywhere.
Yeah.
Or I got to turn that setting off.
Oh, I think I turned mine off. I'm embarrassed now. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
No.
Oh, it's on.
Clip
it's
it. Chat, clip it.
No, chat. No, clip it, chat.
Yeah, the final two candidates in the death scene. I've been doing the job search lately. I just lost out on a really prestigious job that I really wanted, and I was one of the final two candidates. And I watched this episode the next day, and I was like, man, I wish I could do a fight to the death. If I'm one of two people, put me in a ring with the dude, and I'll effing kill him.
I'll kill it.
You know? But that scene is awesome.
No.
With the closing ray shield.
Dude.
Very cool.
I loved it. I was like, I love this concept. Like, it fits perfectly into the Sith of, like, just cutthroat,
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to fight each other? Sick. Friends? Sick.
So good.
I loved it.
So great. Darth Vader comes in.
Oh,
I'm
chills.
jumping there. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I was like, man, is it getting watered down how much we see Darth Vader? No.
No, it is not.
I was like, he is a badass no matter how much we see him, no matter when we see him, whatever context, he rocks it every time he walks in. And the reveal is we've seen it a million times, but like the slow reveal that it's Darth Vader, or not even the slow reveal, but just like, I think it's a shot at his boots and you just hear his breathing. Like, how many characters can you get a reveal like that and it's always satisfying? It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that's why even if people don't know Star Wars, they know freaking Vader and they know he's a freaking menace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which, what I'm going to say is, I love also that he doesn't say a word, which I'm like, that is even better. He just, like, because for Barriss, like, she has no idea who this dude is.
Yeah.
She's been in prison. She sees this scary man walk in, and I would like to believe that Darth Vader has a dark presence around him.
Yes.
I would like when they walk in, like, oh shoot, because we see it in A New Hope and stuff. Like, people kind of straighten up when he walks by, like, oh, this guy means business.
Yeah.
But I do just love, like, he just says nothing, and that just plays even harder into how just scary he is.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I like your point of Barriss doesn't know who he is, but one thing I was thinking is Vader knows who she is.
Yeah.
And does he harbor hate for her because she's the reason that Ahsoka left the Order?
Dude, it's a really good point.
I was like, does he trust Barriss? Does he even remember? Or does he see it as a positive? Like, he understands what she was doing now.
Yeah. Like,
because when she bombed the Jedi Temple, that was because she disagreed with, like, the hubris of the Jedi and all that stuff, whatever. So does he agree with that now? And he obviously hasn't forgiven, but he's aligned with her now, or does he harbor hate for her? And that's what I wish they would have fleshed out, or at least referenced a little bit.
Yeah. Oh,
Because I'm like, does he want her in the ranks of the Inquisitorius? Because he probably doesn't, unless he. I don't know. Just something to think about.
it is. It's a very cool like concept of like that internal conflict. The second that Vader walks in and he sees Barriss, like I wonder if he's like, oh, you. But and I wonder what Vader has to do to really remove himself from Anakin. Like that must be super hard because that's gonna like feelings of like, oh, I know who you are. You screwed over my Padawan, and then he has to say, oh, Anakin is dead. None of that matters,
exactly.
You know, so I mean, you can't really do internal dialogue in live action, but in the comic, you definitely could. So it'd be cool to see maybe what was happening.
Would be very cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, to your point, Anakin is gone. You know, he's dead. So like,
but
maybe that.
I don't know.
It
would be Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Last thing from that for me. There's a profile shot of Vader against the water background of the window, and I think that same shot is in Kenobi. I'm pretty sure. I wanted to go back and look.
Okay, I don't.
But they're in that same meeting room because we see that same meeting room in Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that same shot is in there, but that's neither here nor there.
Wouldn't surprise me if it is.
Sure.
I'll take a look.
Okay, that's my last note from that episode.
Right, as well.
Okay, realization is the next episode.
Bow, bow.
Now this is where I might run into not knowing what my notes mean.
Okay,
I watched this over a week ago.
You're good. Well, that first episode was just so strong. This one, what I'll say here is that first opening shot is actually very, very close to the opening shot of Tales of the Jedi with Dooku and Qui-Gon.
That's a great point.
Lynn walking in, same as Qui-Gon did, and then the apprentice sitting in the chair, which is exactly where Barriss is, and she comes and sits down, and it also kind of pans with the ship in the beginning. So I thought that was really cool. That it's like, here we are, Tales of the Jedi, and here we are, Tales of the Empire, Master Apprentice. My question is, I don't remember, in Tales of the Jedi, Ahsoka's story is first, correct? And then Dooku?
I don't remember.
I think it might be. But that's what I have for that. I'll look up my question there.
Okay. It seems at this point, Barriss still believes that the Empire is a means to an end for improvement. Like, even at this point, she doesn't realize that the Empire is evil. So it seems.
Right.
Like, she knows what she's doing is bad, but she still believes that there's a way to improve things, from what I can tell. Okay? And I think that's why the episode is called Realization, because this is what makes her believe that the Empire is evil. And there's no redemption to it. So.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Real quick, Ahsoka's story is first in Tales of the Jedi.
Okay.
So it kind of aligns as that these both happen like that.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's what I do. The shot with the moons was beautiful. I'm just gonna say that real quick, and then I'll move on. So I do love when Lynn comes in. I'm sorry to not remember the Inquisitor's name, so I'm gonna keep
It's like the
Lynn.
second sister.
One of the sisters. But she says, "Where's the Jedi hiding?" And that's super similar to the Obi-Wan
Fourth
scene.
sister. Sorry, cut you off. Fourth sister. Go ahead.
Fourth sister. Where's the Jedi hiding? Super similar to the scene in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yeah.
When the Grand Inquisitor comes down.
Yes.
And they're like,
Thought the same thing.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Which also plays into the fact that they are like just following commands. Like when we go to a place, this is what we do. This is what we ask. We're sheep.
Sheep.
Did I say it? I did.
Yeah. Okay. Off of that point, I wrote down this is what Kenobi should have been.
Yeah.
Because here's what I'm thinking. You could still include Reva, but if you replaced Reva's character with Barriss Offee, that might be a little too heavy where like it's stealing away from Kenobi. But the way that Lynn and the way that the fourth sister and Barriss Offee are operating is so much cooler and menacing. So for example, like Barriss's helmet. Yeah. So sick. I love that design.
Yeah.
The problem with Reva, and I don't know if it was the actress or the way they were written, but just never intimidating. Like she was always kind of modulating her voice to sound like grumpier or growlier or scarier. These two characters come in very soft and like just no nonsense intimidating.
Yeah.
And I think it's very good.
I agree.
And I think like Reva's whole purpose is to be with the Inquisitors to serve an end. And then she has no loyalty loyalty to them in the end. So I feel like if Barriss were in that situation, that would be even cooler for us fans. Not that I want to rewrite Kenobi, but I do. But I'm saying like this episode to me felt like Reva's story if Reva was a better character.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Yes, Barriss, because I think she would be a way more compelling character to dive into. Absolutely. Because she, like, exactly what you're saying, that she's not really fully bought in, but we know she's not fully bought in, or whatever it may be. I don't know.
Here's another thing too. I was just thinking of. So Reva knows who Darth Vader is.
Yeah.
Somehow people were pissed about that, which go ahead.
I was going to say, that's what I loved about the original script. It cleaned that up. Anyways.
Money. Sorry, I haven't watched that yet.
What the flick?
I'm sorry.
We can talk about it at the end. Go ahead.
Reva knows who Darth Vader is somehow. It would have been cooler to me if Barriss knows who Darth Vader is. She finds out because maybe she's recognizing some tendencies in him that she recognized from working with Anakin.
Yeah.
And then follows Reva's same intentions of getting Kenobi to appease Vader. So that's where she is motivated, you know? I just think it would have worked really well. If I'll organize my thoughts better, because now I'm thinking of this with thoughts that are a week and a half old. But if you would meld Reva and Barriss Offee, you could make Kenobi so much better.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to construct Reva's intentions. Barriss's intentions are already there. You know, like they're already nascent, so you can build on those, which is good. Just a thought. We'll talk about that more. I'll flesh it out. But
no, I agree. And also, you don't have to have freaking Reva surviving 2 stabs.
Exactly. No, that's a great point.
No, I get what you're saying. I would love to hear that when you polish it off. I think it sounds great now.
Thanks, brother. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I do love that they killed the mayor of that city, because when they're like sitting there and she's like asking for the information and she finally gets it, and like he was holding out and he was lying to her, I was like, I just don't think the Inquisitors would let this slide. Like, if there's no way an Inquisitor would be like, oh, you were just lying to me right there. Oh, that's cool. Like, they got to make a point. Like, hey, you don't lie to us. And so I was so glad that, of course, she killed him. I was like, oh, good. And then she proceeds to massacre.
Just kill everybody.
Everyone who's there.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really great. And I mean, again, going back to like what Kenobi could have been, just more brutalism. Like, we see one guy hanging.
Yeah. It's
after
like,
a very similar interaction. It's whatever.
Which is funny because it just reminds me of the Kai Patterson cut, that he did it even better by making the guy beheaded.
Yeah.
And hanging.
Yeah. That's a great point.
The original was just him hanging, which didn't show how menacing they were.
Exactly. Okay, I want to get into something a little political for our Trumpers. Did you clock this? Did you clock anything political about this episode?
I actually did not. What was that?
So the Jedi they're pursuing is non-binary.
Oh, I did notice that. Yeah, the they.
Yeah, they kept saying they're in the mountains, which you get up there and there's only one.
Right.
And then Barriss keeps referring to the Jedi as they or them, or, you know, which I'm totally okay with. I'm good for that representation. I was like, am I tripping? Go on Reddit, and people are like, this is not Star Wars. I could not even focus. First off, if you're not okay with trans people in Star Wars, you're an idiot, okay? It's an infinite galaxy with infinite possibilities. You're okay with, like, weird space aliens. Like, you're okay with Max Rebo playing the drums, but you're not okay with somebody who is non-binary. You're a moron. But narratively, I was like, the Inquisitors are like space Nazis.
Yeah.
They're not using them pronouns.
That's
a
really good point.
I was like, come on now.
Well, maybe they were just a little bit more woke space Nazi.
Well, I mean, to that point, Barriss was the one using the pronouns.
That's true. Maybe the Fourth Sister wasn't about that.
But maybe within the culture of Star Wars, groundbreaking right here. Well, it's just more well acknowledged that they're non-binary, you know, whatever.
How could they not be okay with it? There's literally shapeshifters.
That's what I'm saying. That I need to read you these comments. They were like, "This is not Star Wars." I couldn't even watch. I had to turn it off. I'm like, bro, are you stupid? It's whatever. But anyway, I was like,
that's funny.
They're not calling them they them, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But
it is funny to me how like quick people are to just be upset about that.
Because so stupid.
I heard it. I was like, oh, cool. That's it. That's the most my thought went. It wasn't like, what the hell?
Yeah. Because it's a great episode.
Yeah, it's a really
and like to that, for a pronoun to take you out of it, you're a snowflake. That's so cringe.
Mad cringe.
So sorry, Trumper fans. Sorry if you didn't like that episode. You missed out, idiot. Just kidding. We love our Trumper fans, even if you are stupid. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Now, I wrote this down and I said this might be a hot take, but actually, now that I read it, I don't think it is a hot take because you and I have talked about this before on the podcast. So maybe to our listeners, it's a hot take. But I like that we don't see the Force Sister killing everyone. We just hear the screams and them freaking out and the noise. Yeah. Going back to Andor, where we said we like that we don't see what Bix is seeing.
We don't hear what she's hearing.
We don't hear it. That's right. That's what it is. We have no idea. So our mind makes it even crazy. So when that's happening, and she's just killing the kids and the people in there, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, that is some terrible stuff.
That's a great point.
And it's like, I think it plays in, like, of course, they probably can't show them killing kids. Maybe there was some weird stuff about that, but I think it plays even better that we don't see anything for anyone.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay, perfect. That's my last thing from that episode. Got anything else?
I got 3. I'm going to read this one because
okay.
Past Spenny, what were you thinking? I just said sucking fight. What does that what does that mean?
Did you mean sick fight?
I think I did, but it's sucking. I think I do like that when they're getting up the mountain, like the Force is just ready to go. They're already engaging. They're fighting, and Barriss is still getting up there, which maybe there's a little bit of her who's like, oh, is this something I want to do? Maybe it shows into her character. She's a little bit more held back. Yeah. But I just enjoyed that.
Great point.
And then I love the interaction that they're having. Barriss is talking to them, and they're like, "You don't have to do this. Are you sure? I'm just so tired. I can't do this anymore." And then the Force Sister just kills him with his back turned.
Yeah,
crazy, great.
Them with their back turned.
Oh,
sorry,
my apologies. And then I like the ending with what we are led to believe is when Barriss kills Lynn or the Fourth Sister.
Yes, yeah,
thought that was super cool.
Yeah, man. I never trust when a Force-sensitive person gets thrown off a cliff. Yeah, I'm like, they'll just stop their fall. Whatever. Yeah. But yes, the killing of that Jedi, very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. Awesome. I'm trying to think. I was so distracted by the problem. I'm as guilty as who I just called stupid, but I was like, man, I'm not focusing for the rest of the episode. I got to think about this.
Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
That's really all that happened, though.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing from that episode, you said?
That was the last thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
so next one is The Way Out, which is a cool title.
Do you think it's in reference at all to One Way Out?
I was thinking that, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to the story why it's the way out, but I thought that way for sure.
I thought that too, and I think that's got to be intentional some way. Okay, I am glad there's a redemption arc for Barriss, but it would have been cool if she just went super evil.
I think so too. I think I'm more on the train of super evil, but let's talk and we can dive into that. Huh?
She's just such an interesting, cool character. And I'm really grateful for Tales of the Empire for giving us more of her. But I'm like, man, that third episode could have been her just at full power, Inquisitor,
Yeah.
But then that wouldn't fit in with everything else. But I just, we talked about this. Do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, sorry about it.
Okay, go ahead.
So one thing that with what you're saying, the reason why I kind of wish she was full evil is because it's the Tales of the Empire, and I get, like, in my mind when I was hearing this, I was thinking, well, we're seeing all dark stories, all people who are fully committed, but that's not really what it's about. It's just saying these are people who are in the Empire kind of a thing. And I think sometimes I get a little burnt out seeing these redemption arcs of people, which maybe it's just because I'm inherently bad and I think people suck.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, like I loved in the Bad Batch when we had I almost said Clovis again. I've said that 40 times in my mind. What's the freaking dude's name?
Hemlock?
No.
Or Rampart?
Rampart, thank you. That he still sticks to his character of being bad, and I loved it. 'Cause I'm like, some people are just that way. Anyway, with that being said, I think, of course, it wouldn't make sense from the story that they're telling for her to stay evil. Because we can see where it's going. We can see her hesitation with stuff, and it wouldn't make any sense. But part of me kind of wishes that the whole story was just her going, I don't know. But my question is, I guess I can do a little sidestep here. In the Clone Wars, apart from the temple bombing, where do we see her? I don't remember any impactful stories.
So if I remember right, there are a couple of episodes where she's just close friends with Ahsoka. Like they're on certain missions together, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
We also see her working with her master, who is a member of the same species.
That's right.
Vaguely in the Clone Wars. I'm trying to check my memory bank. Yeah, so we do see her in just a couple of episodes. It's hard remembering on the Clone Wars because there are so many characters that I'm so attached to, and I'm sure this is true for everybody. But then you go back and revisit it, and you're like, oh, we don't know anything about that character. Why am I so attached to them? And it's something because they had like a cool character design or whatever. And I was a kid, and I was like, they're the coolest thing ever, you know? So I don't know if it's the case like that with Barriss Offee, but I think just it's cool enough that she was friends with Ahsoka, and then she literally bombed the Jedi Temple, and is the reason Ahsoka got kicked out of the Order.
Yeah.
That's like the history we need with her. And I think it would have been easy because, like you said, I'm kind of burnt out of the redemption arcs. We talked about this, but how many like former Jedi do we need in hiding after the fall of the Empire? Like it's just kind of whatever. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, that's what I was gonna say. That was my other beef. Was like, oh, here we go again. It's another Jedi who has survived Order 66. Hers would make sense, but then you made a really good point saying, well, she's actually not really a Jedi anymore because A, she's kicked out the second she bombs the temple, but B, when we see her when she's older, she doesn't have a lightsaber or anything. Yeah, she's just kind of a Force sensitive helper.
Because I really like if that would have been fleshed out a little bit more, which I don't think it's necessary or even would have been realistic in this kind of structure, but I do like the idea of former Jedi or just generally Force sensitive people living throughout the galaxy that aren't classified as Jedi. Yeah. I like that idea.
I do too.
But for her character, I was like, this doesn't seem like the most fitting end.
I feel like she would be trying to do more.
Yeah,
but
which is fine. I mean, I'm still very pleased with the direction of it.
Yeah,
I'm just like that. Kind of seemed like a missed opportunity because it would have been easy. Like in the realization episode, we could have had the episode play out the exact same, and then she gets to that point where she is hunting the Jedi, and there's a moment there where she gets full committed. You know,
she's like this,
like she has to kill them or whatever. I don't know how you do that, but like we're talking about how the direction of the story was trending into her returning to good. I think it would have been cool to kind of subvert expectations and trend that way, and then just be like, boom, psych, she's committing to the dark side.
Yeah. I just wonder how the ending would have been. Like, it would have been perfect. That was the third episode. Yeah. And that's how it ends. But I wonder what they would try to pepper in for the third episode to show her height and power. I don't know.
That's a good point. Because in this case, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but this story kind of turns to represent the fourth sister.
Yes.
Because we never see her end. We see a lot of the Inquisitors. We see how they die. Whether it's in Kenobi or in the comics or in Rebels. We see a lot of their deaths, and we know their end. We've never known the fourth sister, how she ends up.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a fitting end for her, I guess, because presumably she leaves the Order of the Inquisitorius. I don't know. But anyway, we'll get into that. So she's chasing down children for the Empire.
Yeah.
That reminded me because Barriss comes out and she's like, think about what you're doing.
Right.
In not so many words, but that made me think of Hunter's plea to Wolf, just barely in the Bad Batch, of like, think about it. You're hunting children for the Empire. Like, just think for a second, which is just a cool idea, I think. When Barriss says, fear is not your ally, but your master.
Bars.
Yeah.
I agree. One note I have here, this is just a just small one. The opening reminded me of when Han is looking for Luke on Hoth.
Great point.
Just like how super blurry, you can't see anything. Anyway, but the next thing I have here is one of my questions, this has nothing to do with it, is how is it that Barriss is aged? But then you look at the fourth sister, she doesn't look aged at all.
That's a great point.
She getting Botox?
The Empire pays for it.
So that's part of their package.
Yeah.
Get Botox.
I thought the same thing. I was like, I'm really having a hard time understanding what time period this is.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, like we said with animation, there's got to be a reason. Like, they so many frames you have to literally edit. Right. So maybe her species doesn't age. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
Barriss ages faster than the others. I don't know.
Because the Empire's still around.
Yeah.
So we see her right as the Empire becomes a thing in the first episode of this. And then the Empire lasts for 20 years. So it can only be 20 years later, which I feel like that's still kind of aggressive for her aging. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
We're talking about how animated aliens age. Like maybe it's not that deep, but it is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But yeah, I just have that in there because like found it to be interesting.
No, it is.
Also, so sorry. Now back to actual real stuff and not silly, dumb nitpicking stuff. You talk about so this one I have here is your anger makes you predictable, which is a great callback to when the Grand Inquisitor said, "Your holding back makes you predictable."
Yeah.
So I thought that was a really interesting parallel of like she wasn't when she was fighting the Inquisitor in the very beginning when he didn't have a lightsaber. He's telling her, "Yeah, you're holding back makes you predictable. I know what you're gonna do." And now that the Inquisitors go full fledged into it, right? She's saying, "Well, your anger now makes you predictable.
Yeah.
Now, I now know what you're gonna do because you're so mad." Which is kind of interesting. Like, how can both be true, kind of a thing. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
That is very interesting. I guess maybe it's just like a spectrum. Like on the one end, if you give into your fear too much, you're out of control. And on the other end, if you don't dive into it from the Sith's point of view, then you're also out of control. So like you need to find a middle ground. Maybe. I don't know.
I think that's a really good point because we talked
yeah.
about Jedi, how they were too far crazy when we see them. And so maybe everyone just needs to be more in the middle.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole story of Star Wars. And that's why we can get into this. But like talking about balance in the Force, as long as there are Sith alive, there is no balance in the Force because by nature, Sith seek control of everything. Like Sith are like consumption incarnate. Mm-hmm. So they want to consume and gain control and endless power, unlimited power, Unlimited. Exactly. Power. So it's like, maybe they don't know that. Maybe the Sith only know that holding back is a weakness, but they're so concerned with getting so much power and so much fear and so much whatever that I mean that's the folly of the Sith in the end.
Yeah, they overlook that their anger commit. Okay,
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah. Hey, 10 out of 10 from you right there.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. Go ahead. I've been talking for a bit there.
No, you're good. Last thing I have is someone finally died from a lightsaber stab. Thank goodness.
Thank freaking goodness. Dude, I literally was like, as I was watching this, I was like, I gotta look back at all of them, and I was just counting in my head. I'm like, that is insane. The Grand Inquisitor survives. Reva survives twice. Who else? Sabine. I don't know, it's just crazy to me that like there is, and it is after the Disney acquisition.
Here's what I don't understand. I think Disney has a thing against dismemberment.
Maybe.
But that's how old Star Wars used to do it. Cut off somebody's hand, they're incapacitated for a while, and then they just get a hand that looks just human, so you don't need to mess with the actor or anything. Disney, do that.
Yeah.
Have somebody cut off both their arms.
Yeah, dude.
Don't stab them, and,
Or on top of that, what a great... I mean, you did it with Kanan. You made him... You had him go blind, so he had to learn how to live with that.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool story for kids if you cut off someone's arms. Now, that's not the cool part.
That
the
is
cool
cool.
part is being that, people, accidents happen, get in a car crash, they lose their leg.
Mm-hmm.
They have to learn to live with it. Everything they knew is no longer what they can do.
Yeah.
That'd be a powerful story to portray through media.
It's a great point.
Imagine, especially if you took a Jedi who's super powerful, gets their limbs cut off, and then the whole rest of the series, like, they're never that person again.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
Be great.
Anyway. So I don't know, Disney, open a book.
Seriously. Read.
Read?
Virgins.
Virgin non-readers, dude. The cave reminded me of the keg that people were doing cake stands on. The cave on Dagobah, but I don't remember why it reminded me, so maybe it doesn't.
Well, I mean, she is seeing kind of visions because she's just seeing herself in the ice. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was a weak point I wrote down. I don't know. I don't think I had a real thinking strong with that.
But I did like that sequence where she's running around and she just cannot escape. And it's like an allegory for the Empire or the dark side closing in on her, and she doesn't know how to get out. And then we see later. But yeah, go ahead.
That's a really good point. And I also like that, like, Barriss warns her, like, you will not know how to get out of there.
Yeah.
And she's so prideful. It's like, I can do anything. I don't need this. I can get through a cave. What are you, crazy? Yeah. Let's see here. Just kind of going back to your point, I like how we are still seeing that the Empire are still searching for Force-sensitive kids, especially right after seeing it in the Bad Batch.
Yep.
You made that point. I thought that was cool. my question for you though, do you like how Barriss died?
No, like I said, I mean, I just don't understand how that works for her character, and it's because we didn't get, like we said, the arc was trending for her to return to the light or at least leave the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it just seems so anticlimactic for me. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. I'm like, because okay, I have one last note, and this is what I'll say.
Go for it.
The way that the fourth sister is panicking as she's in the cave, and she's like, I want to find out. I want to find a way out. And she screams at Barriss, and she's like, show me the way out. And Barriss is like, you know the way out. And what Barriss is saying is, you know the way out of the Empire and the dark side.
Yeah.
Whereas the fourth sister is just trying to get out of the cave, but she's really asking, like, how do I get out of this mess that I'm in? Because you know what I'm in. So I do think that's cool that Barriss' like final message is to bring one person back to the light, you know? But, you know, I also don't like her just being a hermit on a nice planet. Like that's hard for me to.
Disney likes to do that, don't they?
Yeah.
I guess George likes to do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Obi-Wan, a hermit on a desert planet. It's a little different.
Thanks.
And then Luke was on a kind of a sick Paradise Mountain kind of thing going on.
It's true. Arc 2, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah, I just feel like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be so hard on the story because they only had 3 episodes to tell it.
Right.
So it's like, for what it was, it's amazing. I mean, this arc was amazing. It was exactly what I was hoping for when we heard this, and the ending made me feel that way. So,
right.
So yeah, I guess I don't hate how she died. So, and then what are your thoughts on the fourth sister? I guess you kind of already explained this, but I already had this question written down. But of the fourth sister turning back, do you think that? I mean, to me, I guess the reason why I wrote it down is like I feel like she was just so full of hatred. I guess the story in Star Wars is that anyone can change.
Yes.
And I got to remember that. But in my mind, I'm like, I just don't see the character we've been seeing on screen submitting so quickly.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess people change, and in near-death experiences, I guess you could even use that as a point of people changing, and that's what happened to her. She thought she might have died she could have died in the cave. So I don't know. So maybe it does make sense. I think that's that's kind of my one gripe.
Well, no, I mean, it is a good gripe because I agree with you. It's like there's no indication that she has any weakness.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to rewatch it, like you're saying, because maybe as in the other 2 episodes, there's some indication that she will eventually come back, but I just don't remember it. So
yeah, and that's the same with me. There's not, because especially if we're going from that second episode where she just murders everyone.
Exactly.
She kills the Jedi on the mountain. So it's like where we were, and again, we don't know how much time has passed between the second and third episode or what happened to the fourth sister in that time that could have made it. So she made the decision to change. I guess I'm saying I'm stuck in my ways and I'll never change.
Yeah, I'll never change.
Anyway, with that, what are your thoughts at the end of these last 3? What would you give it?
I would give those probably a 9 out of 10.
I'd agree.
Just wholly enjoyable.
Yeah.
I liked those more than Ahsoka's episodes.
I agree.
You know?
Because Ahsoka's episodes, I only really liked the training with Anakin.
Yeah.
That's really all I really enjoyed.
So for me, it's Dooku.
Yep.
Top tier Star Wars. That's 10 out of 10.
Amen.
Barriss, which is like an 8.5 or 9.
Okay.
Ahsoka, which is an 8.
Okay.
And then Morgan Elsbeth, which is like a 6. I enjoyed it, but I'm not wanting to return to it.
Especially when you put it in the scope of these other ones.
Exactly. Yep.
It really does not hit.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that's a perfect listing.
Okay, cool.
That's got a spinny approval.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions you had about this?
No. I'm set for that.
Cool. The last thing I did, just want to just do a quick run through, was the video that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't watch it, and that's fine.
Sorry, man.
No, it's cool,
Whatever.
dude. Like, I begged on the phone. I'm just kidding. What I really liked about it, though, is kind of the elements you were saying that you wish would have happened with Barriss. One of the biggest things was, if you don't know, there's a video that's been put out. I don't know the name of the channel. So
Damn are we?
apologize because I want to give them credit because the guy makes great videos about Star Wars, like stories, like the behind the scenes script stuff, and so this was one of those. But basically, what happened was there was the original script for the Obi-Wan movie. It was going to be a movie. It was slated to come out after Solo, and since Solo did so poorly, they scrapped all those movie projects they had. One of those being the Obi-Wan, and they decided to adapt it to a series since The Mandalorian was doing so well, which makes sense from Disney's standpoint. However, this guy makes a really good point that if the Obi-Wan movie would have came out first, it would have done numbers compared to the Solo movie. And his whole thinking was like, yes, there's older fans, but you have a lot of the young people who are going to movie theaters who grew up on Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan, who would have loved to go see him, And I agree 100%. Anyway, the original script was really cool because we would see more of Vader and his power. He would fight these five Jedi in the beginning. Reva would kind of work as just someone who brings the Jedi to Vader, and he would kind of execute him, question him, and execute him, which is cool. And then the cool thing about Reva, though, is she knows nothing of Anakin, which people, like you said, had a lot of beef with. That they're like, who the hell is this? How does she know Anakin's story? No one knows that. And so she doesn't, right? She just knows her backstory would say this thing that she gets stabbed and lives from Order 66. Or I don't know if she would have been stabbed, but she would have survived and seen Anakin kill everyone. I guess Darth Vader at the time, technically. I guess maybe that's why she knew, because maybe the clones called them Vader when they're attacking. Is that kind of the thought of why she would know who he is?
Yes.
Okay, it's weak.
Yeah.
I agree, that's weak.
But I think the issue was, why would he leave a kid alive? Like, how's a kid surviving that?
Gotcha.
Maybe.
And I think we don't really have that much information, but I would like to believe that Reva would just go into hiding and survive, Anyway, whole point is at the very end, we would get Cody.
Yes.
Commander Cody, which people were like, we've been begging to see him. Even in the Bad Batch, people were begging to see him. And he would have been kind of the storyline of what we saw in the Bad Batch of removing the inhibitor chip. And he would have gone to try to kill Obi-Wan. Not kill him, but find him and say, hey, I could have found you and killed you. You should be more careful. And Obi-Wan realizes he's really out of touch. But the part that I think you would have thought was cool was, while Cody and Obi-Wan are on Tatooine watching over Luke, they save this group of Force refugees. They were like a religious group. And because you talked about how you want to see more Force-sensitive people in the galaxy who aren't Jedi, and that would have played right into it. They would have kind of saved them, and then while they were together, he would have discovered that what they worship is actually the Force. Yeah. And he would have been like, oh, I need to shapen up my skills, and he would go to a shrine, see a vision of Luke, who he thinks is Anakin, and they would fight on Mustafar, Luke versus Obi-Wan, which would have been a crazy cool thing to see.
That would have been nuts.
On the big screen. Anyway, with all that being said, in the end, Obi-Wan leaves, and Vader finds out where he is. We get the similar of what we saw in the Obi-Wan series. Yep. Where they fight, and then Obi-Wan sees Anakin's face, and Obi-Wan thinks, okay, maybe I don't have to wait on Luke to grow up. Sorry, I didn't really explain that well. Luke and Obi-Wan fighting, that whole thing was showing that Obi-Wan is pushing him down a path that might have led Luke to the dark side. That was the whole point of that. Sorry. Anyway, they would fight in battle. Luke and Obi-Wan would. Obi-Wan would realize he could maybe turn Anakin to kill Palpatine and not have to wait for Luke to grow up. So he attempts that, and then we get the sick line of, Anakin's dead, I killed him, yada, yada, yada.
Anakin is gone. I am what remains.
Bars. And anyway, with all that being said, Obi-Wan would get pushed off a cliff, basically. And when he gets pushed off the cliff, Vader would send everyone to go look for him. And when he finds, they couldn't find him. And basically what would happen at this point is Reva would find Obi-Wan, and there would be kind of a confrontation. And here he would explain to her that Anakin is Darth Vader. And that's how she would find out, which makes a lot more sense. Like, oh, duh. Of course, Obi-Wan is one of the few that know, and she finds out that way. And then I guess kind of the whole thought was that when she would go back to Darth Vader, she would tell him that she killed Obi-Wan to get under his skin, because that's been Darth Vader's prize. That's what he wants. And then he would have killed Reva there, which would have been a fitting end. And I think her character would have been a lot more enjoyable to watch if that was a storyline.
Absolutely, man. I'm so sick. That's bullets, and blockbusters on YouTube. By the way,
give it a watch. The guy makes a great video on it.
the video is called "The Original Plans for the Obi-Wan Kenobi Trilogy." But I'm just so sick of after we get a subpar show or movie, reading what the original plans were, and you're like, "What?
Yeah,
Why didn't you just do this,
dude." And they talk about in the video that the guy who created it, right? They took a lot of the elements he made, but Disney is the villain in this because, well, that wouldn't really happen because of this. And it was really cool because the guy who wrote the original script loved Star Wars so much, he pointed out a line in Return of the Jedi when Vader and Obi-Wan are talking. And when Vader turns to Luke and says, Obi-Wan thought as you did. Like when Luke says that he can change, like you can come back. It's never too late to come to like join me, Father, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Vader saying, Obi-Wan thought the same as you did. And he points out, we really don't ever see that conversation happen that Vader's referring to. And he says it could happen here because they were a little skeptical when they fight again. He's like, they should face again, and it should be Obi-Wan pleading Anakin to come back. They're still good in you.
Right.
And that would be the reference he was having to Return of the Jedi. And so it sucks, like you're saying, when you see a script this good, someone who loves Star Wars, who pointed that little line and was able to, make it all work, to just not happen because Disney's stupid and dumb boys.
They are dumb boys, yeah.
I said it. Anyway, so
Okay,
give that a
well,
watch.
now I will watch that. Now you've sold me. I just needed to wait on a little sales pitch, and I'm ready.
Yeah, sometimes I was going to do summer sales, so sometimes it's there.
Hell yeah. Okay, well, cool. I'm excited for it.
Well, that's all I got, brother.
Okay, that's all I have too then.
All righty.
Well,
Thank you for being a disciple of the Force.